Hello and welcome to Frozen Synapse 2 Developer Diary number 25. I'm Ian Hardingham, designer and lead programmer on Frozen Synapse 2, and today we're going to talk about the first results of the closed beta, various features, my plans for the immediate future, and get to your questions in the mailbag. So let's go. So the closed beta started almost exactly 2 weeks ago, with I think something like 110 people, and so far I've been very happy with the results. Got a huge amount of useful bug reporting. The game's still in a bit of a mess and still a lot of weird things are happening, but people are able to play in general. Got quite a lot of feedback on the city stuff, very strongly hearing that it's a little bit overwhelming right now, and I'm going to talk about that a bit later. But in general, I've been happy, very happy with how much people are playing, the kind of feedback I've been getting, and really people have been extremely useful. So thank you everyone who's on the beta. I'm not accepting any more submissions right now because I've got more than enough feedback to deal with, and I want to get the city games the next major stage before I get any new people involved. But if we do another closed beta round, I will let you guys know. So with that in mind, I'm going to talk about oneturns first, because they are the area that had the most work by me in the first few days of the beta. So here is the oneturns browser screen, which has been slightly improved from last time, but is still a bit of a mess. Just as a reminder, if you're new to the videos and you haven't watched the one-turn episode, oneturns are pretty much one-turn games where you do your play for one of the sides and you can have your play played against lots of other people. Because it's only one turn, you can play your stuff against anyone else. 100 people could do a one turn and you could see your results against or in comparison to all of those 100 people. It's a really cool idea. It gets me very excited. I like the idea of doing something competitive, but that doesn't require you to be online at the same time as someone else and worry about how long you're taking. And it's just a feature that's really, really important to me. And it went through some very rapid development as the beta started, because I saw initially that people weren't playing it enough. I'm just going to open at number 88. That was started by Raguer. No idea how to pronounce him, but he's been a very active beta participant so far. So yeah, it's just basically to change what we're looking at on the screen. So I started the beta, and one-turns are an important aspect of Frozen Synapse 2 to me. I want them to be very compulsive to play, and I noticed that people were not playing very many. So I had a look, and the first thing I realised was that the scoring wasn't really working properly, and something like this, you have to get the scoring working properly. So I went in and did a lot of work on the scoring to make it work, and that was good, and that improved how people were responding to it. Got quite a lot of positive feedback based on that. But I was playing it myself, and I still wasn't particularly sure about it. So sorry if this is all a bit out of order, but I have a lot of different things to say, so just bear with me. Basically, how it was when the beta started was that there are two sides of a one turn. Let me just get this massive outcome thing out of the way. There are two sides. Obviously, there's green and red, although that changes depending on which side you are. But there's side one, there's side two, or north and south, or east and west, or A and B. And as the beta started, 50% of people would play as red here, and 50% of people would play as green. Now, there were a lot of reasons I did that to start with, but what became readily apparent was it was exciting to see the play that you made play out against your first opponent, and that was sort of really exciting. But then you played it against another opponent, and it sort of really undermined everything, because it was all about making like sort of the best possible play, the average play. Trying to beat everyone else is kind of not really exactly the right thing for Frozen Synapse. You want to be playing against one person, and sort of predict what they're going to do. So I don't actually know Raguer's style particularly, but if this was Bin, I'd know his style. I'd be like, well, I think he's going to fire his rocket over here and do something stupid, so I'm going to play against that. And when you're playing against one person, there's a huge amount of excitement when you press prime and you see the outcome come up. And then you've got your result, and that's really exciting. So it hit me one day when I was driving back from a meeting with the Tokyo 42 guys in London, that what I needed to do was to make the person who creates the one turn play as one side, say red here, and everyone else play as the other side. So you know who you're playing against. That one playthrough is really, really important. You're not trying to beat every single possible thing a red guy could do here. You're just trying to beat the one that you think Mr. Ragua's done. And the guy who creates the one turn, now he does have to play against everyone. But on the other hand, he gets a load of new exciting content every day of new people trying to beat him. And he just gets to challenge the world. So it also kind of makes it more exciting for the people creating new one turns as well. So I was really happy with that. And lo and behold, once I put that change in, I was extremely gratified to see that the number of people playing one turns, and the number of one turns people played at a time, massively increased. So I'm really happy with that. I'd like to hear all the feedback from people who do play one turns. I've also just released a patch that massively improves the level generation, but it still needs to get better. So there we go. But now I'll get into the specific one turn, which I've brought up because I did very well in it. Now this is the disputed game mode of one turn. There are 5 boxes, and your score is the number of boxes held by live units of yours, minus the number of boxes held by live units of the enemy. And then you get some extra bonus points for kills and focus kills. So I'm not going to spend too long going about my thinking, but I'm just going to use this to show you actually how the system works now after I've talked about it for 10 minutes and everyone's stopped watching. Oh my goodness, I should just give up now. Okay, well let's see what I do. So I've got a flamethrower and 2 machine gunners. He's got 2 machine gunners and a rocket launcher. I made the decision here to use this flamethrower to go down here and try and cut off here, and these 2 machine gunners to come up, try and take some of these boxes and just try and wipe out the opposition. And as we're going to see, I did exceptionally well through that plan. So first we're going to see my play against Mr. Ragua's play. So that really could not have gone very much better. I got 4 boxes and he got none. This is the greatest achievement I've ever had in Frozen Synapse. It made me very, very happy. But now, for all of you people who are slightly confused about what I was talking about with one turns, you get to see the beauty of one turns. You see your play out against the enemy, and then you get to see everyone else who has played your side, i.e. everyone who's played against Ragua's play, and see how they did in comparison to you. Now, trying to show the scores for this kind of thing is quite complicated because, you know, you're scoring against other people doing the same thing as you. So while my actual sort of gross score here is 430 because I had 4 boxes and I killed 3 enemy units and I lost none and he had no boxes. What's much more important, excuse me for coughing today, I'm having a cold, than this score is how many other people I beat. So I get a score of 100% because I got a better score than everyone else who tried it. The 2 guys here on 61%, they got the same score as each other, and they both basically beat 61% of the people. And poor Mr. Andras at the bottom, he has a global bottom of 0%. And what's really nice is you've played your play, you see what happens, and then you can see how other people have done. Now, you're not always going to be top like me, so you may want to see what the other top person's done. So Joust, he's only got a score of 110, but he did pretty well. Let's see how he handled this. He also went to the main bottom. I think that's really key. Now, you see, that's a huge swing. That final kill by the red guy, by red number 1, the flamethrower, is like a sort of a 300-point swing at this point. And it's really unlucky for Joust, but Joust still did relatively well. Now let's look at Neophelis, who is unaccustomed to being 3rd on the list of anything, I'm sure. And let's see what he did. Now he takes the flame up there, tries to get onto the window and fails miserably. But his final machine does pretty well, and he gets a wipeout. That's pretty awesome. And let's, just to fully embarrass him, let's see how badly Mr. Andras did. Sorry, yeah, he gets wiped out pretty quickly, and the rocket launcher picks up all of his boxes, and that's a good score for Ragua. So this is the end of the one-turn section. I'm really excited about this game mode. I've really nailed it. It's really exciting design-wise. It's something I really, really enjoy playing, and I've definitely seen a few of our beta testers just really buy into it. Nothing tells the truth more than playing time. Doesn't matter what people say or don't say. if they're playing something, that means it's working, and if they're not, it means it's not. And I sort of look at that much more than I look at any other metric. I can't see currently playtesting times for, say, the City game, and haven't looked very much into how much multi-turns are going on. But this is just an important metric. So leave your feedback as usual, and let's move on to a much thornier issue of focus aim. Now here we are in another one turn, but we are only in a one turn to show and talk about focus aim. Now just a reminder, by far the biggest mechanical difference in Frozen Synapse 2 over Frozen Synapse 1 is focus aim. When you are move aiming, you have what's called the focus diamond, and if you first see an enemy inside your focus diamond, then you get a massive boost to your aim time. So for example, if we don't have this shotgunner in this guy's, that's how long it takes to kill him. Excuse me, look at that typo. If he is in the focus diamond, it's extremely quick. Now, I think the liveliest thread on the forums is about focus aim. Several of the testers so far do not like various aspects of it, and I have refrained from commenting, but I'm going to start commenting now. Focus aim itself is going to stay as a core concept. There are a couple of modifications I will consider to it that people have suggested, as I'll talk about later. But I want to first talk about what focus aim is really about. So in Frozen Synapse 1, and this is a huge part of Frozen Synapse 1, and I have no problem with this, you've got someone aiming out of a window here, and he's basically... let's get this shotgun out of the way, he's not actually helping very much. Let's look at two machine gunners. A guy sitting in a window has an advantage, and without using some exploit like distraction, which is something never supposed to be in the game anyway, or using a different unit, like for instance getting the shotgunner coming up close, this guy just has the advantage here. It's something that can be relied upon, and that's fine, and that leads to a lot of things within Frozen Synapse, but I didn't want Frozen Synapse 2 to be exactly the same game. And what Frozen Synapse 2's focus aim allows is for there to be a way of breaking this kind of... let me just... I don't want this guy to cause a problem for... So yes, just to remind you, if you've got the focus aim, this guy can now win this engagement. So when in doubt with Frozen Synapse's sort of core design, I look to the fact that I'm still trying to make turn-based Counter-Strike. That's a huge part of what this game is. And when I play Counter-Strike, as I did for a very long time on Robin's Stag Do, there are times when I will sit aiming at a very specific area and fully buying into that area, and I have a huge advantage if the guy, my opponent, comes out of that area. This makes sense to me on a high level as a thing that makes some sense. And sort of more importantly, that it just vastly increases the number of different things that can happen in a turn of Frozen Synapse. I'm not going to go too much further into it. I'm sure I'll hear more from the people who don't like it. But I've played with it a lot, and it really sort of revolutionises my enjoyment of the game. It works really well in both single player and multiplayer. It forces people to be more dynamic. It makes prediction a large part of the game, and it makes just the whole game have more different outcomes. And each turn, you just have to think anew. And kind of finally, I know a lot of people really enjoy spending a very long time working out the optimal way of dealing with a certain situation in Frozen Synapse. And that's cool, but that's actually not sort of particularly how I play, and I don't really want to force people to have to spend 10 minutes producing an extremely detailed plan to really maximise the possibilities. I want people to be able to use the creativity of the space to do something that they think is exciting and be creative. And I think that focus aim really helps with that, because your opponent can choose to focus aim in various different areas, and you cannot predict that. You have to make a bit more of a call. You have to say, okay, well, I just have to make this call because I'm screwed if he does this, and I'm going to win if he does this. So that's all my defense of focus aim. I hope that makes some sense. I don't want to make anyone annoyed. I know that there are always going to be some people who legitimately don't like the direction this takes the game in. I think a majority of others, certainly people I've talked to within Mode 7 and close friends of Mode 7, are already buying to where it goes. This was always going to be something that was difficult. Anyway, I've done with my defense. I hope I haven't annoyed anyone too much. I always want to hear from you. Now, I will talk about the ways that it's possible I may change it. So first, and I think something I definitely will do, people have asked for there to be a maximum range on focus aim for the machine gunner. So I think people think this may be a little bit too long of a range for you to be able to do this. I think this is sort of getting towards up there. Like I think I might make maximum range slightly longer than this. So give me your feedback on that. I think that the most coherent people arguing against it have asked for it to be optional with a negative. So you either have normal move aiming, which is like normal move aiming, or you have focus aiming, and it either has a significantly reduced view cone, or while you get this massively increased aim bonus within the diamond, you're worse elsewhere. So if, for instance, I was here and a guy appeared over here, I would have a much worse situation. I think those are both very, very good ideas. All other things being equal, that's something that I would definitely like to do, and it's something that I'm definitely considering doing. The problem is one of user interface and of ease of playing the game. It is so nice to be able to use the aim handle and just to have this area that is your focus aim area. You can decide whether you want to use it or not. You have to make a bit of a play on where you put your view cone versus where you put this, blah blah blah. Making this into two orders is going to be difficult. It's going to be a slightly worse user experience. I think it's worth trying. I'm not sure what I would do to switch these between the two modes or anything like that. It's a pretty complicated aspect of the game. So yeah, basically that's something I'm definitely considering. I also want to let the current beta testers keep playing and see how their attitudes towards it evolve. A lot of the guys in the beta are really, really top level Frozen Synapse 1 players. And it's possible that they'll never like this change. It's possible they have to get used to what this means. And finally, a lot of people have asked to change the shape. I've seen some people who buy into the general idea but say it feels a bit artificial. And I think Neophelis has campaigned for this to be a cone rather than a diamond. I'm definitely up for that idea. I think that might be nicer. I don't think that's going to fundamentally change anything apart from the feeling of it, really. I think it's sort of broadly the right size. I think that the sniper needs to have a slightly different diamond, and the shotgunner as well. If he has a diamond at all, which I'm not sure about, he should do. Should probably have a different shape as well. So there's still a lot of work to be done. So there you go. That's a long sequence on move aim, focus aim. Everyone's bored? Good. Let's move on to some city stuff. Okay, this is going to be relatively short. I just wanted to let you guys know what the short and medium term future of the city plans are. I've been very happy that people have given me a lot of useful bug reports and crash reports. And people are playing it and giving me feedback, and the feedback that I've had overwhelmingly is that the game is a little overwhelming right now. You have a lot of information coming up, a lot of things happen very quickly, there's just a huge amount going on, and it's just a bit crazy. As we see people move around, there's a huge number of squads moving out at the same time as they start. We start getting this kind of information at a very high level of people attacking each other. And it's just a lot. So I'm just going to broadly say that feedback actually makes me very happy, because it is time now for me to take all of the systems that exist in the game and start making them work a bit better for the player, giving the player more information. The AI is currently just on overdrive and needs to start doing things in a much more measured way, and that's going to make a huge difference. They need to start calling you in the right ways, talking to you, and I'm very excited to work on that over the next few weeks. I've got some very, very good ideas, and I think the next phase is going to turn this from being a really interesting set of systems into something which feels absolutely amazing to play. So thanks to everyone who's playing, and I'm really excited about getting the next version out to you guys when I've done some significant changes. So with that, let's get to the mailbag. Okay, so it seems like a million years ago that I did our last video, but it was only 2 weeks, I'm told, by the date on YouTube. And the last video was about the new bomb defusal mode in Frozen Synapse 2 multiplayer mode. So far, I think people are really enjoying playing it in the beta. It's got quite a few like bugs and lack of information, which I'm also working on in the near future. So a lot of these questions are and comments are generally about that mode, and I'm not going to answer a huge number of questions today because I'm running out of time. But I have to answer some questions because Tabus says he doesn't matter if the level generation algorithm is perfect because it's forgiven geometry. So we have an amazing response to do with the name of a faction in the game. Thank you, Tabus, you've made my day. Christian Anyanwa, apologies for my pronunciation of your name, asks, will the units be able to jump through windows? That's something Paul really wants. I'm unclear right now. That's quite a big change to put in at this point. On the other hand, it could be really good if it just took quite a long time. I don't know, tell me what you think. Quite a lot of questions, etc., about the level generation, which I've been working on. And just a lot of really useful stuff from people who like Counter-Strike, and I really like Counter-Strike, so that really helps. People have definitely bought into this game mode, which makes me really happy. Anything else going on? No, it's pretty much just stuff about that. So actually, this was a very short mailbag, but I expect there'll be a lot of interesting questions and comments on this week's video. If you are on the beta, I'm reading everything on the forums and I'm listening to everything. I'm not responding to everything on the forums because I've got so much to do. But thank you again, and thank you to all people who are watching this video who aren't on the beta. I've been really happy with everything that's been going on. We had a really good showing of the game at Resd in London 2 weeks ago, and it did really well at that show. And I'm just really excited about spending the next few months making this game really, really good, and then hopefully releasing it in the fall. So thank you for watching, and goodbye.